And welcome back to the chef's kitchen. This is Cooking with the Chef, and we're making beef bowls. And I've already turned the water on to boil, so we didn't have to wait for that and spend all that time watching it. You know it would never boil if you watched it. We're going to take our 8 cups of rice, and it's come to a good boil now. Now I'll show you there. You can see how that's foaming up there. Boiling really good. You can see all the steam coming off. We're just going to throw that rice in like that. And we're going to stir it up. And we're just going to cover that up here as soon as it starts to boil again. Don't want it to boil too much. Boil off all your liquid. Now there's a number of things. I'm going to reiterate that there's a number of things that you can make with this. You can get some of the egg rolls, spring rolls, some of the pot sticker dumplings. Also, there's a lot of other things you can make. And that's coming to a boil, so we're going to cover that up. And we're going to turn that down to a low, medium, low. And let that start to cook that rice up. And we're going to take a look at our broth. Yeah, those onions have cooked down. They've kind of caramelized. Don't know if you can see it here. We'll get real close. And it's caramelized those onions down so that they're good and soft. Let's get the other angle on there. And we're going to move it to the side. And now we're going to cook our meat. We're going to check this. Stir this rice again. Alright. We're going to set that there. Set our bowl aside. Now we're going to let this get hot. Then we're going to cook our meat. Now I generally do not use anything to cook the meat into except maybe a little vegetable oil. So I'm going to add to the pan. Just enough to coat the bottom because you don't want the meat to stick. And you don't want a heavy oil flavor in this because it's this isn't something where you want a lot of grease in it. You don't want a greasy taste or feeling or texture. You want it to be the natural texture and flavors of the rice and the wine and the meat and the soy sauce. So you want just enough so that meat's not going to stick to your pan real bad. And we're just going to let that heat up for a minute. Stir up the broth again. Make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. None of the onions burn to the bottom. Worst thing you can do is overcook it. Let it dry out too much. And then you scorch it, and then you've lost it. Now we're just going to keep this stirred up with the broth that's in here. Just wait till that gets hot there. We're going to check this rice again. And you can cook the rice ahead of time. Put it to the side. You just leave it covered. Rice will stay warm for a very long time. In fact, if it cools off a little bit, sometimes that's not a bad thing. And whatever you put on the rice will heat it up. And we're going to turn that way down. We're going to add a little bit of water to it so it don't scorch on the bottom. Don't want to scorch your rice. And I got enough water where it's instant rice, but it is going to be sticky. Not as sticky as a traditional sticky rice. That takes about an hour and a half to cook. Or you can steam it, but instant rice will work just as well. Alright, we got the pan where it's starting to get hot, so we're going to put the meat into the pan. Now, when you cook this meat, depending on how thin it is, if you get it real thin, you're not going to want to cook it for a long time. You want it to stay a little pink in the center, so you just want to basically sear it real quick in the pan. Purpose for that is, if you cook it too long, it makes it hard, makes it tough. And it is going to cook a little bit once you put it into the broth. The heat's going to keep it cooking. Like any meat, as long as the meat's hot, it's going to keep cooking itself. Its own heat will continue to cook it until it cools off. So what we want to do is we're just going to take all the red off from it. Just keep stirring it up. And you want all of the meat to be just brown.